In a world where the clamor of daily life often drowns out the whispers of magic, we tend to forget that fairy tales aren't just for children. Tonight, let us embark on a fantastical journey, rekindling the innocence and courage that lie deep within our hearts. The Witch and the Dragon is not merely a bedtime story. It's a mirror reflecting the struggles and growth within each of you as you lie in bed, feeling weary yet unable to sleep. Why not follow our protagonists? An extraordinary witch who yearns for more than the ordinary, and a lonely dragon, as they traverse enchanted forests and scale treacherous mountains, exploring the unknown within themselves. In this world filled with wonders and challenges, you might discover that true magic has always resided within your heart. Are you ready? Let's begin this incredible adventure. In the heart of the Whispering Woods, where ancient trees murmured secrets to those who would listen, lived a witch named Lena. But Lena was no ordinary witch. While her peers spent their days brewing potions and casting traditional spells, Lena's heart yearned for something more. Her cottage, nestled in a clearing surrounded by towering oaks, was a testament to her unconventional nature. Instead of the expected shelves lined with dusty tomes of spells and jars filled with eyeballs and newt tails, Lena's walls were adorned with intricate sketches of dragons. Scales of various hues and patterns were carefully preserved in glass cases, and ancient scrolls detailing draconic lore lay unfurled on her desk. For Lena, the mysteries of dragonkind held more allure than any potion or incantation ever could. Her fascination with dragons had begun in childhood when she stumbled upon an old, tattered book hidden in the depths of the Witch Academy's library. The pages, yellowed with age, spoke of magnificent creatures that once soared through the skies, their wisdom and power unmatched by any other beings. From that moment, Lena's path diverged from that of her fellow witches. While others perfected their levitation spells and mastered the art of transfiguration, Lena pored over accounts of dragon sightings, studied their ancient language, and even attempted to recreate their legendary fire-breathing ability, much to the chagrin of her neighbors and the local fire brigade. Her obsession earned her sideways glances and whispered comments from the witch community, but Lena paid them no heed. As the years passed, Lena's knowledge of dragons grew, but so did her longing to encounter one in the flesh. She spent countless nights atop the highest hill in the Whispering Woods, her green eyes scanning the starry skies for a glimpse of scaled wings or a flash of fire. But the dragons, if they still existed, remained elusive. Lena's days fell into a routine of research and watching, punctuated by half-hearted attempts at traditional witchcraft to appease her mentors. She brewed potions that always seemed to bubble over, cast spells that more often than not resulted in comical mishaps, and tried, unsuccessfully, to cultivate a garden of magical herbs. Her heart wasn't in these pursuits, and it showed. The other witches in the Whispering Woods viewed Lena with a mixture of amusement and concern. They whispered among themselves about the strange witch who preferred the company of dusty dragon lore to the camaraderie of her own kind. Some pitied her, believing her obsession with creatures long thought extinct to be a sign of a mind lost to fantasy. Others admired her dedication, even if they couldn't understand it. But Lena remained undeterred in her heart. She knew that dragons were more than just legends. She felt their presence in the world around her. In the unexplained scorch marks she sometimes found deep in the forest, in the large, mysterious footprints that appeared overnight near the mountain caves, and in the occasional distant roar that echoed through the valleys on still nights. As the seasons changed and years rolled by, Lena's passion never wavered. She continued to expand her knowledge, venturing further into the uncharted areas of the Whispering Woods in search of any sign of draconic presence. Her cottage became a sanctuary of dragon lore, filled with artifacts and information that would make even the most seasoned dragonologist green with envy. Little did Lena know that her life was about to change forever as she stood on the threshold between the familiar world of witchcraft and the unknown realm of dragons. Fate was preparing to intervene. The winds of change were stirring, carrying with them the promise of adventure and the fulfillment of a lifelong dream. As the sun set on another day in the Whispering Woods, casting long shadows through the trees and painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Lena sat at her desk, poring over an ancient map. Her fingers traced the faded lines of mountain ranges and forests, searching for clues that might lead her to the dragons she so desperately sought. Little did she know that somewhere in the distance, a creature of legend was about to make its presence known, setting in motion a chain of events that would change her life forever. As the first stars began to twinkle in the twilight sky, a sound unlike any other shattered the tranquil evening in the Whispering Woods. It was a roar, but not the mundane bellow of a forest creature. This cry resonated with an otherworldly quality, a sound that seemed to echo from the dawn of time itself. It was the unmistakable call of a dragon. The sound reverberated through the ancient trees, causing leaves to tremble and small creatures to scurry for shelter in her cottage. Lena's head snapped up from her studies, her emerald eyes wide with a mixture of disbelief and excitement. For years, she had dreamed of this moment, and now that it had arrived, it seemed almost surreal. The dragon's cry was not one of triumph or strength, as Lena had often imagined in her daydreams. Instead, it carried notes of pain and despair, a mournful sound that tugged at the heartstrings of all who heard it. Even the most skeptical of the forest dwellers couldn't deny the raw emotion in that haunting call. Without a second thought, Lena sprang into action. She hurriedly gathered her most essential tools and references, stuffing them into a worn leather satchel. Her hands trembled with anticipation as she pulled on her travel cloak, a garment adorned with intricate embroidery depicting dragon scales, a testament to her lifelong passion. As Lena stepped out of her cottage, the cool night air kissed her cheeks, carrying with it the faint scent of pine and something else, something ancient and powerful. The forest around her seemed to hold its breath, as if aware of the momentous event unfolding within its bounds. With a deep breath to steady her nerves, Lena plunged into the depths of the Whispering Woods. Her feet carried her swiftly along hidden paths, guided by an instinct she didn't fully understand. The dragon's cries, though less frequent now, served as a beacon, drawing her ever closer to her destiny. As she ventured deeper into uncharted territories of the forest, the landscape began to change. The familiar acacias and maples gave way to more ancient, gnarled trees that seemed to whisper secrets in a language long forgotten. Shadows danced at the edge of her vision, and more than once, Lena felt as though unseen eyes were watching her progress. Hours passed, and the forest grew denser and more foreboding. Lena's determination, however, never wavered. She pressed on, her heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. The dragon's calls had ceased, but Lena could feel in her very bones that she was on the right path. As the first light of dawn began to paint the sky, Lena emerged from the forest into a hidden valley nestled between two towering mountain peaks. The sight that greeted her took her breath away. There, in a clearing bathed in the soft glow of morning light, lay a creature straight out of her wildest dreams. The dragon was enormous, its scales shimmering like polished obsidian in the early sunlight. Even in repose, it exuded an aura of power and majesty that made Lena's knees weak. But, as she drew closer, her trained eye noticed something amiss. The dragon's breathing was labored, and a deep gash marred its otherwise perfect scales, oozing a silvery substance that Lena recognized as dragon blood. For a moment, Lena stood frozen, overwhelmed by the reality of the situation. All her years of study, all the ridicule she had endured, had led her to this moment. She was standing mere feet away from a living, breathing dragon, a creature of legend made flesh. As if sensing her presence, the dragon's eyes flickered open, eyes as ancient as the mountains themselves, filled with pain and wariness, fixed upon Lena, and that gaze. Lena saw millennia of wisdom, the weight of countless years, and a profound loneliness that mirrored her own. Time seemed to stand still as witch and dragon regarded each other. The forest around them fell silent, as if holding its breath in anticipation. That in that moment, Lena knew that her life would never be the same. The path ahead was uncertain and fraught with danger. She knew with unwavering certainty that this was where she was meant to be. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, casting long shadows across the hidden valley, Lena took a tentative step towards the wounded dragon. Her journey, she realized, was only just beginning. The true test of her knowledge, her courage, and her heart lay ahead. With each step, she left behind the world she knew, venturing into a realm of magic and mystery that few had ever glimpsed. The dragon watched her approach, its ancient eyes inscrutable in its gaze. Lena saw a challenge, a question, and perhaps a glimmer of hope as she drew nearer. Her mind raced with all she had learned about dragons, preparing herself for whatever might come next. Little did she know that the bond forming between them in these tense moments would be the key to unlocking secrets long forgotten by both humans and dragons alike. The clearing, bathed in the soft light of dawn, became the stage for a meeting that would shape the course of history. Lena, her heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and trepidation, stood before the majestic creature she had dreamed of encountering her entire life. The dragon, which she would come to know as Alfred, regarded her with eyes that held the wisdom of ages. As Lena took another cautious step forward, the dragon's muscles tensed. A low rumble emanating from its throat was a sound that spoke of pain, fear, and a deep-seated mistrust of humans. For a moment, Lena faltered, the weight of centuries of misunderstanding between their kinds pressing down upon her shoulders. But Lena was not one to be easily deterred. Drawing upon years of research and an intuition honed by her unconventional approach to magic, she began to murmur in the ancient draconic tongue. Her words, though halting and accented, carried with them a sincerity that transcended language barriers. The dragon's eyes widened, in surprise, its rumbling subsiding as it listened to Lena's words. She spoke of peace, of a desire to help, and of a lifelong fascination with dragonkind. As she spoke, Lena slowly reached into her satchel, pulling out a small vial of healing salve she had concocted based on ancient draconic texts. With slow, deliberate movements, Lena approached the dragon's wounded side. The gash was deep, a testament to some fierce battle the dragon had endured. As she neared, the scent of ash and lightning filled her nostrils, an odor she had only read about in her most arcane tomes. The dragon watched her every move, its body tense and ready to react at the slightest sign of threat. But as Lena began to apply the salve with gentle, reverent touches, a change came over the magnificent beast. Its muscles relaxed, ever so slightly, and a soft sigh escaped its massive jaws. As she worked, Lena continued to speak in the draconic tongue, her words flowing more smoothly now. She told Alfred of her life in the Whispering Woods, of her years of study, and of her dreams of this very moment. The dragon listened, its ancient eyes never leaving her face, as if trying to peer into her very soul. Hours passed as Lena tended to the wound, her hands moving with a surety that belied her lack of practical experience. The sun climbed higher in the sky, casting dappled shadows through the canopy of leaves above and the secluded clearing. Time seemed to stand still, the outside world fading away as witch and dragon forged a tentative bond. As Lena applied the last of the salve, she noticed a change in the dragon's demeanor. The wariness in its eyes had been replaced by something else, a glimmer of curiosity, perhaps even respect. Slowly, with a grace that defied its massive size, the dragon lowered its head until it was level with Lena's. For a breathless moment, Lena found herself staring directly into eyes that had witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations in their depths. She saw a reflection of her own passion, her own loneliness, and her own desire for understanding without thinking. She reached out a hand, letting it hover just inches from the dragon's snout. The dragon regarded her outstretched hand for what seemed like an eternity. Then, with a gentleness that brought tears to Lena's eyes, it pressed its snout against her palm. The scales were warm and smooth beneath her fingers, thrumming with an energy that spoke of ancient magics and untold power. In that touch, a connection was forged that transcended the barriers of species and time. Lena felt a surge of emotions that were not entirely her own: gratitude, curiosity, and a profound sense of kinship. She understood, in that moment, that she had been granted a gift beyond measure: the trust of a dragon. As the day waned and the shadows lengthened in the clearing, Lena and Alfred remained together, communing in a way that defied conventional understanding. The witch who had never quite fit in with her own kind, and the dragon who had long avoided human contact, found in each other a kindred spirit. Yet, as the first stars began to twinkle in the twilight sky, both Lena and Alfred knew that this was only the beginning. The dragon's wound, though treated, would take time to heal fully. Moreover, the circumstances that had led to Alfred's injury remained a mystery, one that would need to be unraveled. As night fell over the hidden valley, Lena made a decision. She would stay with Alfred, nursing him back to health and learning all she could about the magnificent creature. Little did she know that this decision would set her on a path of adventure and discovery beyond her wildest imaginings. With a small magical fire crackling beside them, Lena settled against Alfred's warm flank. The dragon curled protectively around her, a living wall of scales and ancient power, as sleep began to claim her. Lena's last thoughts were of the incredible journey that lay ahead, a journey that would challenge everything she thought she knew about magic, about dragons, and about herself. As the first light of dawn crept over the hidden valley, Lena stirred from her slumber, her body nestled against the warm scales of Alfred the dragon. The events of the previous day rushed back to her, and for a moment, she wondered if it had all been a vivid dream. But the gentle rise and fall of Alfred's massive body beneath her confirmed the extraordinary reality of her situation. Lena's mind quickly turned to the task at hand, healing Alfred's wound and uncovering the mystery behind his injury. She knew that the salve she had applied was only the first step in a long process of recovery. More importantly, she understood that true healing would require more than just physical remedies. It would demand a journey of trust and understanding between witch and dragon. As Alfred awoke, his ancient eyes focused on Lena with a mix of curiosity and lingering caution. Through a combination of draconic words and intuitive gestures, Lena conveyed her desire to continue treating his wound and to learn more about what had befallen him. The dragon's response was a low rumble that vibrated through Lena's very bones, a sound that she interpreted as reluctant agreement. Over the next few days, a routine began to form. Each morning, Lena would carefully clean Alfred's wound, applying fresh salves made from herbs she gathered in the surrounding forest. She drew upon her years of unconventional study, combining traditional witches' remedies with what she had gleaned from ancient draconic texts. To her delight and relief, the gash began to show signs of healing, the silvery dragon blood no longer seeping from its depths. As she worked, Lena would speak to Alfred in a mixture of human tongue and halting draconic. She shared stories of her life in the Whispering Woods, her struggles to fit in with other witches, and her lifelong fascination with dragons. Alfred listened with what Lena could only describe as draconic patience, occasionally offering rumbles or snorts that she began to recognize as responses. But Alling Alfred's physical wound was only part of the challenge. Lena sensed a deeper pain within the dragon, a weariness that spoke of long years of solitude and hardship. She understood that to truly help Alfred, she would need to address this inner turmoil as well. As the days turned into weeks, Lena began to incorporate magical exercises into their routine. Drawing upon her unique blend of witchcraft and draconic lore, she created rituals that combined the healing powers of nature with the ancient magics of dragonkind. Under the light of the full moon, she would guide Alfred through meditative practices, their minds and spirits intertwining in ways that defied conventional understanding. During these sessions, Lena caught glimpses of Alfred's past flashes of soaring over vast, pristine landscapes long since changed by the march of time, memories of interactions with long-forgotten civilizations, and the profound loneliness of watching the world change while remaining apart from it. These visions filled Lena with a deep sense of empathy and strengthened her resolve to help Alfred reconnect with the world. As Alfred's wound continued to heal, Lena noticed a change in the dragon's demeanor. The wariness in his eyes was gradually replaced by a spark of curiosity and, dare she hope, trust. He began to respond more readily to her questions, offering insights into draconic culture and history that both thrilled and humbled Lena. One particularly memorable evening, as they sat beneath a sky ablaze with stars, Alfred shared with Lena the tale of the dragon's Tire, legendary artifact said to possess incredible healing powers. According to draconic lore, the Tire had been created from the crystallized sorrow of the first dragon to witness the growing rift between dragonkind and the other races of the world. It was said to have the power to heal not just physical wounds, but the spiritual and emotional scars that ran deep within one's being. As Lena listened, enraptured by the tale, a seed of an idea began to form in her mind. Perhaps the dragon's tear was more than just a legend. Perhaps it held the key to fully healing Alfred, not just in body, but in spirit as well. The prospect of such a quest filled Lena with a sense of excitement and purpose she had never known before. Yet, even as she contemplated the possibility of seeking out this mythical artifact, Lena was acutely aware of the progress they had already made. The bond between witch and dragon had grown stronger with each passing day, a testament to the power of compassion, understanding, and shared purpose. As the weeks turned to months, the Hidden Valley became a sanctuary for both Lena and Alfred. It was a place of healing, of learning, and of rediscovery. For Lena, it was the fulfillment of a lifelong dream, an opportunity to immerse herself in the world of dragons in a way she had never thought possible. For Alfred, it was a chance to reconnect with the world he had long kept at a distance, to remember what it meant to trust and to hope. Their journey of healing was far from over, but as Lena looked at Alfred, seeing the growing strength in his body and the rekindled light in his eyes, she knew that they had already come farther than either of them could have imagined. The path ahead was uncertain, filled with challenges yet to be faced. But Lena was certain of one thing: whatever lay ahead, they would face it together, witch and dragon united in a bond that transcended the boundaries of their kinds. As the seasons began to shift, painting the Hidden Valley in hues of gold and crimson, Lena and Alfred's healing journey took an unexpected turn. Their sanctuary, once a place of quiet recovery, became a gateway to the ancient secrets of the Whispering Woods. One crisp autumn morning, as Lena was gathering herbs for her healing concoctions, she stumbled upon a series of strange markings carved into the bark of an ancient oak. The symbols were unlike anything she had encountered in her studies of witchcraft or draconic lore. They seemed to pulse with a faint, otherworldly energy that sent a shiver down her spine. Intrigued, Lena shared her discovery with Alfred. The dragon's reaction was immediate and surprising. His eyes widened with recognition, and a low, rumbling growl escaped his throat. Through their now refined method of communication, Alfred conveyed that these markings were remnants of an ancient language, one that predated even the oldest draconic civilizations. This revelation sparked a furor of curiosity in Lena's heart. With Alfred's guidance, she began to explore deeper into the uncharted areas of the Whispering Woods. Each day brought new discoveries, hidden groves where the veil between worlds seemed gossamer thin, caverns adorned with crystals that hummed with arcane energy, and clearings where the very air crackled with magical potential. As they delved deeper into the forest's mysteries, Lena and Alfred's bond grew stronger. The dragon, once so wary of human contact, now shared freely of his vast knowledge. He spoke of ages long past when dragons and other magical beings walked openly among humans, of great alliances and terrible conflicts that had shaped the very land beneath their feet. Lena absorbed every word, every lesson, with an eagerness that bordered on reverence. She found her own magical abilities growing and changing, influenced by the ancient energies of the forest and Alfred's teachings. Spells that had once been challenging now flowed from her fingertips with ease, and she discovered new ways of channeling magic that blended witchcraft with draconic power. Their explorations also revealed darker truths in hidden glades and shadowy ravines. They found signs of a malevolent force at work: withered plants, corrupted crystals, and an unsettling absence of wildlife spoke of a creeping darkness that threatened the delicate balance of the Whispering Woods. Alfred's reaction to these discoveries was profound. The dragon's demeanor would shift, his massive body tensing as if preparing for battle. Through their mental link, Lena sensed a turmoil of emotions: anger, fear, and a deep, abiding sadness. It was clear that this corruption was somehow connected to the circumstances that had led to Alfred's injury. As they pieced together the clues scattered throughout the forest, a troubling picture began to emerge: that an ancient evil, long thought vanquished, was stirring once more. This force sought to unravel the very fabric of magic that held the world together, starting with the primal energies of places like the Whispering Woods. The realization of the threat they faced brought a new urgency to Lena and Alfred's quest, and no longer were they simply focused on Alfred's personal healing. They now understood that the fate of the entire magical realm might rest in their hands. Their days took on a new rhythm. Mornings were spent exploring the furthest reaches of the forest, documenting the spread of the corruption and searching for ways to combat it. Afternoons found them poring over ancient texts that Alfred had long ago memorized, seeking clues to the nature of their enemy and potential weaknesses. As night fell, Lena would often sit by Alfred's side, her small form dwarfed by his massive bulk. Together, they would gaze up at the stars, contemplating the vastness of the challenge before them. And these quiet moments, Lena found herself drawing strength from Alfred's unwavering presence, while the dragon seemed to find solace in her unshakable determination. Their quest to uncover the secrets of the Whispering Woods had transformed them both. Lena was no longer the misfit witch, struggling to find her place in the world. She had become a guardian of ancient knowledge, a bridge between the world of humans and the realm of magical beings. Alfred, too, had changed. The wary, wounded dragon had rediscovered his purpose, reigniting the fierce protectiveness that had once defined his kind. As autumn deepened and the first frosts kissed the leaves of the Whispering Woods, Lena and Alfred stood at the threshold of a greater adventure. The secrets they had uncovered pointed to a perilous path ahead, one that would take them beyond the boundaries of the forest and into the wider world. Yet, as they contemplated the challenges that lay before them, Neither witch nor dragon felt fear. Instead, there was a sense of rightness, of destiny unfolding. The bond forged between them in that hidden valley had prepared them for this moment, creating a partnership that bridged the gap between two worlds. With the wisdom of the forest and the strength of their unity, Lena and Alfred prepared to face whatever darkness threatened their world. The Whispering Woods had revealed its secrets to them, and now it was time to use that knowledge to protect not just their sanctuary, but all the magical realms that lay beyond. As winter's icy fingers began to creep through the Whispering Woods, Lena and Alfred found themselves facing challenges that went beyond the physical realm. The secrets they had uncovered in the forest had awakened dormant fears and doubts within both witch and dragon, forcing them to confront the shadows that lurked in the depths of their own hearts. For Lena, the enormity of the task before them began to weigh heavily on her shoulders in the quiet hours of the night. When even Alfred's steady breathing couldn't lull her to sleep, she found herself plagued by self-doubt. Was she, a witch who had never quite fit in with her own kind, truly capable of standing against an ancient evil? The magical abilities she had developed under Alfred's tutelage were impressive, but would they be enough when faced with a force that threatened the very fabric of their world? Alfred, too, grappled with his own inner demons. The dragon's long years of solitude had left scars that ran deeper than the physical wound had first brought him and Lena together. As they delved further into the mysteries surrounding the encroaching darkness, Alfred was forced to confront memories of past failures and lost companions. The weight of centuries pressed down upon him, bringing with it a fear that history might repeat itself, that he might once again find himself alone in a world that had moved on without him. One particularly harsh winter's night, as a blizzard raged outside their sheltered valley, the inner turmoil of both witch and dragon came to a head. The howling wind seemed to give voice to their unspoken fears, its mournful cry echoing the doubts that had taken root in their hearts. It was in this moment of shared vulnerability that the true strength of their bond revealed itself. Without words, driven by an instinct born of their deep connection, Lena and Alfred turned to each other for comfort and reassurance. Lena pressed her small form against Alfred's massive bulk, drawing warmth and strength from the dragon's presence. In turn, Alfred curled protectively around the witch, his wings forming a shelter against the storm, both physical and emotional. As they huddled together, a strange magic began to stir. It was unlike anything Lena had ever experienced in her studies of witchcraft, and different too from the ancient draconic powers Alfred had shared with her. This was a magic born of empathy, of shared struggles and mutual understanding. In the cocoon of this newfound magic, Lena and Alfred found themselves on a journey through each other's memories and fears. Lena experienced flashes of Alfred's long life, the joy of soaring through pristine skies, the pain of watching civilizations rise and fall, the loneliness of being the last of his kind. Alfred, in turn, felt the sting of Lena's childhood rejections, the frustration of never quite fitting in, and the burning desire to prove her worth. As they shared in each other's experiences, a profound realization dawned on both witch and dragon. Their fears, half different in origin, stemmed from the same root, a deep-seated worry that they were not enough, that they would fail those who depended on them. But in witnessing each other's struggles and triumphs, they found a new perspective. Lena saw in Alfred's memories the countless times he had risen above adversity, the wisdom gained through centuries of perseverance. Alfred, gazing through Lena's eyes, recognized the unwavering determination that had driven her to pursue her passion despite all obstacles. As the night wore on and the storm began to abate, Lena and Alfred emerged from their shared vision with a renewed sense of purpose. They had seen in each other the very strengths they doubted in themselves. Lena's adaptability and innovative thinking complemented Alfred's vast knowledge and experience. Together, they possessed a power greater than the sum of its parts. With the dawn came a newfound clarity. The fears that had once threatened to overwhelm them now seemed manageable, mere obstacles, to be overcome rather than insurmountable barriers. Lena and Alfred faced the rising sun with resolve burning in their eyes, ready to take on whatever challenges lay ahead. The journey through their inner fears had forged their bond anew, tempering it like steel and fire, and no longer were they simply a witch and a dragon united by circumstance. They had become true partners, each filling the gaps in the other's armor, each drawing strength from the other's courage. As they stepped out into the snow-covered valley, their tracks leaving parallel imprints in the pristine white, Lena and Alfred knew that they were ready for the next phase of their quest. The road ahead would be fraught with danger, the enemy they faced more terrible than anything they had yet encountered. But they would face it together, their fears conquered, their resolve unshakable. The whispering woods, silent under its blanket of snow, seemed to hold its breath in anticipation. The ancient trees, witnesses to countless ages, sensed that a new chapter was about to unfold, one that would be written by the unlikely pair of a determined witch and a wise dragon, united in their quest to save not just their sanctuary, but the entire magical world. As spring began to awaken the whispering woods from its winter slumber, Lena and Alfred found themselves on the cusp of a new phase in their journey. The trials they had faced, both external and internal, had forged a bond between them that transcended the boundaries of their respective kinds. It was this bond, built on a foundation of mutual understanding and unwavering trust, that would become their greatest strength in the challenges that lay ahead. The warming days brought with them a sense of urgency. The corruption they had discovered in the depths of the forest had not remained dormant during the winter months. As new life burst forth in the woods, so too did the tendrils of darkness spread, tainting the very essence of the magical realm. Lena and Alfred knew that the time had come to venture beyond the safety of their hidden valley. The answers they sought, the power needed to combat the encroaching evil, could not be found within the confines of the whispering woods alone. They would need to seek out other bastions of magic, to gather allies in their fight against the shadow that threatened to engulf their world. The decision to leave their sanctuary was not made lightly. For Lena, it meant facing a world that had once rejected her, armed now with knowledge and power she had never dreamed possible. For Alfred, it meant exposing himself to the dangers and prejudices of a world that had long since relegated dragons to the realm of myth and legend. Yet, as they stood at the edge of the forest, gazing out at the vast expanse of the unknown, neither witch nor dragon felt fear. Instead, there was a sense of anticipation, of readiness for whatever lay ahead. They had faced their inner demons and emerged stronger for it. Now, it was time to test that strength against the outside world. Their journey began with a flight that took Lena's breath away. Astride Alfred's back, soaring high above the treetops, she saw the world as she never had before. The whispering woods, which had been her entire world for so long, now seemed but a small patch of green in a vast tapestry of landscapes. Mountains rose in the distance, their snow-capped peaks piercing the clouds, rivers snaked through valleys, their waters glinting like silver threads in the sunlight. As they traveled, Lena and Alfred encountered wonders and dangers in equal measure. They crossed paths with other magical beings, some friendly, others hostile. In each encounter, the trust between witch and dragon was put to the test, and each time it held strong. When faced with a clan of mountain trolls, suspicious of any outsiders, It was Alfred's ancient diplomatic skills combined with Lena's quick thinking that turned potential enemies into reluctant allies that in the depths of a forgotten library. Guarded by spectral librarians, Lena's thirst for knowledge and Alfred's memories of long-lost lore gained them access to tomes of immense power. But it was not just in moments of danger or negotiation that the strength of their bond shone through. In quiet moments, camped beneath star-strewn skies, they would share stories and dreams. Lena would speak of her hopes for a world where all magical beings could coexist in harmony, while Alfred would recount tales of ages past when such a reality had once existed. Their journey also brought them face to face with the harsh realities of the world beyond the Whispering Woods. They witnessed firsthand the devastation wrought by the spreading corruption, once vibrant magical communities reduced to shadows of their former selves, ancient groves withered and dying, magical creatures driven to desperation by the loss of their homes and powers. Each encounter, each site of destruction, only served to strengthen Lena and Alfred's resolve. They knew that they were not just fighting for themselves or for the Whispering Woods, but for the entire magical realm and all who called it home. As their quest progressed, Lena and Alfred began to realize that the trust they shared was more than just an emotional bond. It was a source of power in itself. When they worked in tandem, combining Lena's innovative spellcraft with Alfred's raw draconic magic, they were capable of feats that neither could have accomplished alone. In a particularly harrowing battle against a group of shadow wraiths, creatures born of the very corruption they sought to defeat, this synergy reached new heights as Lena channeled her magic through Alfred. The dragon's fire took on properties of purification, burning away the taint of darkness and restoring balance to a blighted land. This victory, hard-won and transformative, marked a turning point in their journey. Word began to spread of the witch who rode a dragon, of the unlikely pair who brought hope in the face of encroaching darkness. Those who had once looked upon them with suspicion now gazed with awe and growing hope. As spring gave way to summer, Lena and Alfred found themselves at the heart of a growing movement. Magical beings of all kinds, drawn by tales of their deeds and the promise of a united stand against the darkness, began to rally around them. The trust that had begun as a bond between two unlikely friends had grown into a beacon of hope for an entire world. Yet, even as their circle of allies grew, Lena and Alfred knew that their greatest challenge still lay ahead. The source of the corruption remained elusive, a shadow always just beyond their reach. But now, with the power of trust not just between themselves but extending to a network of diverse magical beings, they felt ready to face whatever darkness awaited them. As they stood atop a high cliff, looking out over the lands they had traversed and the battles yet to come, Lena and Alfred shared a moment of quiet understanding. Whatever the future held, they would face it together, their trust in each other an unbreakable shield against the trials ahead. As summer's heat began to wane and the first hints of autumn touched the air, Lena and Alfred's quest led them to a place of legend, the fabled Dragon Spring. Whispered about in ancient texts and draconic lore, the spring was said to be a source of immense healing power, capable of curing ailments of both body and spirit. Their journey to find this mythical location had been fraught with challenges, cryptic riddles from forest spirits, treacherous mountain passes, and encounters with creatures long thought extinct had tested their resolve and the strength of their bond. Yet, with each obstacle overcome, the partnership between witch and dragon had only grown stronger. As they crested a final ridge, a valley unlike any other stretched out before them. Mist clung to the ground, swirling in patterns that seemed to whisper secrets of ages past into the heart of the valley. A pool of water shimmered with an otherworldly light, its surface as still as a mirror yet somehow alive with energy. Approaching spring, both Lena and Alfred felt a shift in the air around them. The very atmosphere seemed charged with ancient magic, a power that resonated deep within their beings. For Alfred, it was like hearing the call of his ancestors, a reminder of the mighty dragons of old. For Lena, it was as if every spell she had ever learned was singing in harmony, creating a symphony of magical energy. As they stood at the edge of the spring, Lena and Alfred realized that this moment represented more than just a destination on their journey. It was a culmination of everything they had experienced together, and a gateway to what lay ahead. With a gentle encouragement from Lena, Alfred stepped into the waters of the spring. The effect was immediate and profound. The lingering pain from his old wound, the injury that had first brought him and Lena together, began to fade. But more than that, years of weariness and sorrow seemed to lift from the dragon's spirit. Watching from the shore, Lena saw a transformation occur. Alfred's scales began to shimmer with renewed luster. His eyes brightened with a fire she had only glimpsed before. It was as if years, perhaps even centuries, were falling away, revealing the majestic creature he had once been. But the magic of the dragon's spring did not stop with Alfred. As the dragon emerged from the water, droplets clung to his scales, glistening like liquid starlight. Guided by an instinct she didn't fully understand, Lena reached out and touched one of these droplets. In that instant, a surge of power unlike anything she had ever experienced coursed through her. Lena felt her own magical abilities expanding, evolving in ways she had never thought possible. The barriers between witchcraft and draconic magic seemed to dissolve, revealing a unified force that flowed through all things. As witch and dragon stood side by side, bathed in the mystical energies of the spring, they shared a vision in their mind's eye. They saw the world as it could be, a realm where the boundaries and magical beings blurred, where the wisdom of the past and the potential of the future coexisted in harmony. But with this vision came a stark reminder of the threat they faced. The corruption that had driven their quest now appeared as a looming shadow, threatening to engulf the beauty and potential they had glimpsed. They understood, with a clarity that was both exhilarating and terrifying, that they stood at a crossroads of fate. Their actions in the coming days would determine not just their own destinies, but the future of the entire magical realm. As the vision faded, Lena and Alfred found themselves changed. The dragon's spring had not only healed old wounds and awakened dormant powers, it had granted them a deeper understanding of their purpose. They were no longer simply a witch and a dragon united by circumstance. They had become guardians of a fragile balance, champions chosen by forces beyond their comprehension to stand against the encroaching darkness. With renewed strength and purpose, Lena and Alfred prepared to leave the sanctuary of the Dragon's Spring. The path ahead was clearer now, though no less daunting. They knew that the final confrontation with the source of the corruption drew near, a battle that would test them in ways they had yet to imagine. As they took to the skies, Lena astride Alfred's back, both felt a sense of destiny unfurling before them. The bond between them, forged in the fires of adversity and tempered by trust, had been transformed by the waters of the Dragon's Spring into something truly extraordinary. They soared towards the setting sun, its rays painting the sky in hues of gold and crimson. Behind them, the mists of the hidden valley swirled, concealing once more the legendary Dragon's Spring. Ahead lay challenges unknown, a world in need of healing, and a darkness that must be confronted. But for Lena and Alfred, there was no fear, only determination. Together, they had discovered a power greater than either had ever dreamed possible. And together, they would face whatever lay ahead, guardians of a new dawn for the magical realm. The air crackled with tension as Lena and Alfred approached the heart of the corruption that had plagued their world. The landscape around them had transformed into a nightmarish realm, where twisted trees reached toward a sickly sky with gnarled branches, and the very ground seemed to pulse with malevolent energy. Their journey had led them to this moment, each step guided by the combined wisdom of ancient draconic lore and Lena's intuitive grasp of magical currents. The power they had gained from the dragon's spring flowed through them, a beacon of hope in the encroaching darkness. As they ventured deeper into the corrupted land, they began to encounter manifestations of the evil they sought to vanquish, shadow creatures, born from the fears and doubts of the magical realm, lunged at them from the mists. Lena's spells, now infused with draconic might, cut through the darkness like bolts of lightning. Alfred's fire, purified by the spring's waters, burned away the corruption, leaving behind pockets of cleansed earth. Their progress, however, did not go unnoticed. The source of the corruption, an entity as old as magic itself, sensed their approach. It had many names across different cultures and ages, but in essence, it was chaos incarnate, the antithesis of the harmony that Lena and Alfred sought to restore. As they neared the epicenter of the tainted land, the corruption fought back with increasing ferocity. The ground beneath them shifted and writhed, trying to swallow them whole. The air itself seemed to turn against them, thick with poisonous miasma that threatened to choke the life from their lungs. But Lena and Alfred pressed on, their bond serving as an anchor in the storm of dark magic that raged around them. They moved in perfect synchronization, witch and dragon as one, each anticipating the other's needs and complementing their strengths. Finally, they reached the heart of the corruption, a vast, pulsating void that seemed to devour light and hope. Here, the entity revealed itself, a Shah-Paless mass of writhing shadows and discordant energies. Its voice, when it spoke, was a cacophony of whispers and screams that threatened to shatter their very minds. The entity taunted them, playing on their deepest fears and insecurities. It showed Lena visions of a world where she was forever an outcast, her efforts to bridge the gap between magical beings ending in failure and ridicule. To Alfred, it presented a future where dragons were nothing more than a forgotten legend, his kind fading into obscurity as the world moved on without them. For a moment, doubt crept into their hearts. The task before them seemed impossible, the enemy too ancient and powerful to defeat. But then, in the depths of despair, they found their strength in each other. Lena reached out, placing her hand on Alfred's scales. The dragon lowered his head, meeting her gaze. In that silent exchange, they reaffirmed their bond, their trust, and their shared purpose. They had come too far, overcome too much to falter now. With renewed determination, they faced the entity together. Lena began to weave a spell unlike any she had attempted before, drawing upon the combined power of witchcraft and draconic magic. Alfred added his voice to her incantation, his deep rumble harmonizing with her words in a song of creation and renewal. As their magic built, the corruption lashed out with all its might. Tendrils of darkness sought to tear them apart, to break their concentration and shatter their unity. But Lena and Alfred stood firm, their combined aura a shining beacon in the heart of chaos. The battle raged on, a clash of light and shadow, of harmony and discord. Time seemed to lose all meaning as witch and dragon poured everything they had into their spell. Memories of their journey flashed through their minds the moment they first met, the trials they had overcome, the trust they had built, and the vision of a better world they shared. With a final, thunderous crescendo, their spell reached its zenith. A wave of pure, cleansing energy erupted from them, washing over the corrupted land. The entity shrieked, its form beginning to unravel as the power of harmony and trust tore through its very essence. As the light of their magic spread, the world around them began to transform. Withered plants burst into bloom, tainted waters ran clear, and the sickly sky gave way to brilliant blue. The shadow creatures that had plagued the land dissolved, released from their torment. Exhausted but triumphant, Lena and Alfred watched as the last vestiges of corruption faded away. The entity, once so terrifying and seemingly invincible, had been reduced to nothing more than a fading memory. As the dust settled and the renewed land basked in the glow of their victory, Lena and Alfred realized that their quest had come to an end. Yet, it was also a beginning. The magical realm, cleansed of the ancient evil, now stood on the brink of a new era, one that they had helped to usher in. The bond between witch and dragon, forged in adversity and tempered by TR.UST, had proven to be the key to saving their world. As they looked out over the rejuvenated landscape, Lena and Alfred knew that their partnership was more than just a union of two individuals. It was a symbol of what could be achieved when different magical beings came together in harmony. With the threat vanquished and their world renewed, Lena and Alfred prepared to embark on a new journey, one of rebuilding, of fostering understanding between all magical creatures, and of ensuring that the hard-won peace would endure for generations to come. As they took to the skies, soaring over the land they had saved, both witch and dragon felt a profound sense of accomplishment and hope. Whatever challenges the future might hold, they would face them together, their bond unbreakable, their spirits undefeated. And so, as the sun set on their greatest battle, it also rose on a new chapter in the history of their magical world, a chapter that would be written with the ink of trust, cooperation, and the enduring power of an unlikely friendship between a witch and a dragon. As the golden rays of dawn broke over the horizon, painting the sky in hues of pink and orange, Lena and Alfred soared high above the renewed landscape. The world below them was a tapestry of vibrant colors and teeming life, a far cry from the corrupted wasteland they had faced in their final battle. This new day marked not just the end of their harrowing quest, but the beginning of a new era for the magical realm. Their descent brought them to the outskirts of the Whispering Woods, the place where their journey had begun what seemed like a lifetime ago. As they touched down in a sunlit clearing, both witch and dragon were struck by how much had changed, not just in the world around them, but within themselves. Lena, once an outcast among her own kind, now stood tall and confident, her magical abilities, enhanced by draconic power and tempered by the trials she had faced, hummed just beneath her skin. She was no longer the misfit which struggling to find her place. She had become a bridge between worlds, a symbol of what could be achieved when different magical traditions came together in harmony. Alfred, too, had undergone a profound transformation. The wary, wounded dragon that had first encountered Lena was now a majestic creature radiating strength and wisdom. The weight of centuries of solitude had lifted from his shoulders, replaced by a renewed sense of purpose and connection to the world around him. As news of their victory spread, magical beings from all corners of the realm began to gather in the Whispering Woods. Witches and warlocks, once skeptical of Lena's unconventional methods, now looked to her with respect and admiration. Creatures of myth and legend, long hidden from the world, emerged from their sanctuaries, drawn by tales of the dragon who had helped save them all. In the days that followed, Lena and Alfred found themselves at the center of a great council. Representatives from every magical faction came together to discuss the future of their realm. The pair's experiences and the unity they embodied became the foundation for a new way of thinking, a philosophy that emphasized cooperation and understanding between all magical beings. Lena, drawing upon the diplomatic skills she had honed during their journey, helped mediate discussions between groups that had been at odds for centuries. Her unique perspective, blending witchcraft with draconic wisdom, offered solutions to age-old conflicts that had once seemed insurmountable. Alfred, with his vast knowledge of history and his newfound connection to the younger generations, became a living bridge between the past and the future. He shared tales of ages long gone, but also listened intently to the hopes and dreams of those who would shape the times to come. Together, they worked tirelessly to build a new society, one where the boundaries between different magical traditions were not walls, but gateways to greater understanding. They established schools where young witches and wizards could learn alongside magical creatures, fostering friendships that would last lifetimes. They created sanctuaries where endangered magical species could thrive, protected by the combined efforts of all who called the realm home. But their work was not confined to the magical world alone. Lena and Alfred recognized that true harmony could only be achieved if the rift between the magical and non-magical realms was also healed. With great care and wisdom, they began the delicate process of reintroducing magic to the wider world, showing that it could be a force for good and growth rather than something to be feared. As seasons turned to years, the changes they had set in motion took root and flourished. The Whispering Woods, once a hidden sanctuary, became a shining beacon of magical cooperation. Lena, the witch who had once struggled to cast the simplest spells, was now revered as a great sage, sought out by beings from all walks of life for her counsel and teachings. Alfred, no longer the last of his kind, watched with joy as a new generation of dragons took to the skies. That he had become a guardian and teacher, passing on the wisdom of the ages to ensure that the mistakes of the past would not be repeated. Yet, despite their numerous responsibilities and the reverence with which they were regarded, Lena and Alfred never forgot the bond that had started it all. They still found time to soar together over forests and mountains, to share quiet moments by moonlit lakes, and to revel in the simple joy of each other's company. As they stood atop a high cliff one evening, watching the sun set on the thriving magical realm they had helped create, Lena turned to Alfred with a smile. "Did you ever imagine, when we first met, that we'd end up here?" she asked, her voice filled with wonder and gratitude. Alfred's rumbling chuckle shook the very air around them. "In all my centuries," he replied, "I never dared to dream of such a future. But then again, I had never met a witch quite like you. Their laughter, a blend of human mirth and draconic joy, echoed across the land, a testament to the enduring power of trust, friendship, and the magic that happens when two unlikely souls find common ground." And so, as night fell and stars began to twinkle in the vast sky above, the tale of the witch and the dragon came full circle. What had begun as a story of healing and discovery had blossomed into a legend of unity and hope, a beacon for generations to come in the annals of magical history. Their names would be forever remembered: Lena and Alfred, the unlikely pair who had not just saved their world, but transformed it, ushering in an age of harmony that would endure for centuries to come. As they gazed out over the realm they had helped to reshape, both witch and dragon knew that while their greatest adventure might have come to an end, their story and the stories of all those whose lives they had touched was far from over. It was, in many ways, only just beginning. Thanks for joining us on this relaxing journey. We hope you enjoyed today's sleep story. If you did, please like and subscribe to Dreamland Sleep Stories for more soothing stories. Thanks and have a great night.